Hello, everybody. This is Capitalist from Join Dota, and I have with me a legend of Dota. It's Papa Drayich, a.k.a. Dre. How's it going, man?
It's going good.
You are also the main Swedish broadcaster for this event, correct?
Yeah, they say so at least. No, we are. We're doing for TV6 Play and TV6.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been doing one day already. It's long days here, but it's Dota all day, so it's good days.
Now, you recently, I know we had some conversations about this, where you basically started doing a whole bunch of streaming at one point in time. You really put a lot of time into it, ended up getting a lot of traction with from a lot of the Swedish viewers, and you've actually been able to recently quit your job and do it full time, correct?
Yeah, but that's a lot. It has a lot to do with my wife working hard as well. No, but yeah, recently, yes, actually, all the way until next year at least, I will only do streaming.
Can you tell me a little bit about how you made that success? What was your plan basically when you went into streaming, and how did you get that kind of traction?
No, but TV6 is really supporting me, and they want to do something, and I had this idea of doing Twitch for a while, just checking it out, and when it all came down to, people really liked what I was doing. And we started to do community work and start to talk about like how to behave in the Twitch chat and stuff like that. And I guarantee you, I have the best Twitch chat in Twitch.
You really do.
You
really do. I mean, I don't even know Swedish, but just when they speak some English, it's always just incredibly well mannered. And so you went into it a little bit. Like, for example, something you do is that every weekend, right, you do an in-houses, and you try and get an equal amount of male and female players, correct?
Well, that's unfortunately not possible right now.
Right.
There is not so much men, but
I try,
definitely, but not like in that way. I just try to make it open for everyone, and we have some girls playing, we have some girls casting, and obviously that's nothing weird with that. But still, it is weird in the community. So it's a big deal for the community, but for me, it's like, yeah.
So can you, then you recently had that article that you came out with, right? That was about women being in esports and the way we treat them. Yeah. Can you actually, I want to start with the motivation that you had writing that kind of article, and why you've been kind of leading that charge, I would say, for many people. Like, well, is there something that happened?
No, but the motivation is easy. I mean, do you really want to be a part of the Twitch community?
Not really.
No, not really.
Not really.
And why would you want to have something that you're so proud of, that we do for a living, to be so disgusting and like, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be a part of that. And also, I want to make sure that if my daughter want to play games, she's not going to get into that shit. And if my son want to play games, he's not going to get into that shit either. So I just like the idea of diversity. We're different people. You can just look at me, look at you and me. We look kind of different, but we're the same anyway, because we like the game. And I don't know. I've been, I don't know. Something happens with me when I discuss these matters. And I mean, English is not my first language, but I try to make something about it. I just want to write down my thoughts, and it kind of escalated. A lot of people watched that or read that article.
Yeah, a lot of people read it. A lot of people had a lot to say about it. It seemed like most of it was very positive, despite the fact that it feels like the majority of the Twitch chat and everything else is filled with so much like hate and vitriol and sexism. When we actually have something like that you write out, it seems like the community is actually very positive about it.
Yeah, it is, and I was discussing this with someone just before this interview, and it's like, we have this idea of how to behave. Like, we already are taught to behave like that. It's like a part of the deal that you should talk about someone's boobs if you join a stream with girls. And I'm not saying it is, but it's almost like we have created an environment where, well, yeah, that's good enough. Say something about the boobs. No, it's not, because it's not interesting. It's about the game. It's about the stuns. It's about the creep waves. Nothing else.
I kind of like that term that you put, that it's not interesting, that basically that these old tired out jokes that we just spam out all the time, they're not funny anymore.
They're not. They really are not. Yeah. And I mean,
but are you saying like you can't actually ever make like any sort of jokes at female expense?
Of course you can do jokes, but the idea is, if someone makes a joke about me, it's never about my sexuality. It's never about how I work as a sexual human being. It's about how bad I am, or how big beard I have, or whatever. And I guess I guess some of that I have to accept because I am a streamer.
Right.
But if someone keeps telling me they would rape me, or that they would, that is a complete different level of what you should be able to, or having to accept.
So the people who always respond, well, you know, you're putting yourself out there in the first place, that this is just, all people have to go through this, men or women, it seems like, you know, pro players, streamers, like we all have to deal with hate.
Yeah.
What would you say to those people who say those kind of things to defend the sexist and hateful comments that go out there?
Well, it's not true. We can live with hate. I guess you know what that is. Someone thinks you're bad at casting. Okay, fine. That's it. They judge you from what you're doing, and you have to live with that. And that's not funny either, but it's a part of it, because we're really there in the middle and accepting that. But you should never be able have to deal with threats.
Right.
You should never have to deal with someone calling you out because of your looks, because that is not what you sign up for. You sign up for saying, okay, I'm a cool commentator, and maybe you're not. You are, but I'm just
thank you.
But you didn't sign up for being judged for your like your body or your sexuality.
So what do you say to some of the people then? How do you feel like we need to change the community as a whole? Because there's another topic, right? There's the other side of this, which is the quote-unquote white knights. Now, I hate this term. I think it's a very, very dumb concept in general. But
explain it to me first.
You've never heard of the term white knight.
No.
So it's people who, when there is any sort of criticism leveled at females in general, like any sort of female cast or anything, there's always going to be the people who, you know, they're fanboys and that sort of thing. They will always defend them, right?
Yeah,
and it's just they kind of, it's extreme fanboyism that results in probably boyish crush and those sort of things. And they're kind of labeled in the English community as white knights, that people who don't really, like, they're only defending them because they're girls. It's basically the idea. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I don't think girls need to be defended anymore. I just think girls don't need to be offended anymore.
Right.
It's a huge difference. And I mean, I got people in my chat defending me, whatever I do as well. So I think it's a part of the deal as well. But the problem is, who makes those assumptions? Who says that this defense is just because it's a girl? Like Shiver is a really good example. I think Shiver is a really good commentator. Yeah. I really appreciate her commentating, but there's always a discussion about her being a she.
Right.
Instead of, have you ever heard, oh, that's just because you're a guy that you can commentate like that? Fuck that.
No.
You never heard that.
No.
And honestly, we're lucky. We're sitting on the good spot. We're fine. But we don't want the community to be like this. Or I'm going to talk for myself. I don't want the community to be like that. So what we should do is really, if we want to judge someone, if we really want to judge someone, do it out of their qualities or their skills or whatever, but not from their gender. It's like so stupid.
I think, though, at a certain point, and I feel like I'm just kind of trying to play a devil's advocate here, but there is certain things, like, for example, hosting certain gigs. This is kind of known in the scene that there is a certain image that certain events want to be able to have. And you can't really deny that there are more beautiful women being hostesses than many other. Do you see that as an issue in any way? Or is that an opposite side of the coin of the sexism in esports? Or
no, but I mean, that is also the idea. Like, if you have a girl in the studio, she does the interviews, or she is the host because she is not smart enough to be the expert. I think it often a lot of times comes down to that. Okay. But instead we don't need to take away hostesses who are good at what they do and happen to be girls and beautiful, because we just take out the gender from the equation. Maybe it's just we need, I mean, hostess should be beautiful. I don't think I should be a host.
So you are in favor of a little bit of discrimination where, the beautiful people should be the hosts. Is that what you're saying?
Well, there is a reason why some people work in radio and some people work in TV. Yeah, okay. But it's not a gender reason. That's what I'm saying. Okay. That's what I'm saying. I mean, you have to have some kind of charisma or some kind of whatever. I wish this was in Swedish. I could tell you so much better, but okay.
That's a bit of the reality, which is that naturally, if you're going to be on screen and that sort of thing, it is kind of a reality that
You have to look decent.
You have to kind of look
Which
professional.
I
and
have
look
to wonder why do I keep get signed for these? Okay, whatever. Yeah, no,
Hey, that's question beyond us.
But you see the difference. It's like it's not the gender that makes
Right.
you. It's because you're suitable for being on television, maybe, or you have the charisma for it, or whatever.
I know English isn't your second language, but I think you did a beautiful job explaining this whole entire scenario.
You're paid to say that, but thank you.
All right, so we'll get away from that. I just want to do closing thoughts about this. I know we're going to be starting soon, so you're going to be casting you're the Swedish broadcaster.
Yes.
You're going to be joined by a whole lot of the cast. I know Ake's girlfriend. I don't really know any of the other casters. Do you want to give them a little bit of spotlight?
It's Bogdan,
Okay.
which I played with in SK Gaming before.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I remember.
And we
him.
played. We have casted a lot together. We're like weird twins by this time. And then it's Bumi, which I never would introduce as Ake's girlfriend. Maybe I would introduce him as Bumi's guy, though. But no, she's really talented, and she. I mean, this was her first TV event. Before she always did the sound. In Twitch and so.
Right.
And I knew she was good, but she was so much better now. So I took some breaks. I sit down here and let her cast because she's awesome. So it's cool.
Nice.
And then we have Slope. He's from the Counter-Strike community from the beginning, but he is the host. And he is the beautiful face in our...
Yeah. And tomorrow you are going to be on TV6, correct? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, that's going to be amazing. That's kind of the best time you can get as well at 7 o'clock on a Saturday on national television. We're going to do Dota all the way until the final is over, and I'm excited.
I'm looking forward to it, man. Thank you so much, Dre, for taking the time.
Thank you for
sitting down
having
and
me.
talk to me. It's always a pleasure, man.
Always a pleasure.
All right, guys. That's it for me, Capitalist Dre, here at Join Dota. We have more interviews coming up, youtube.com/Join Dota Plus. We'll have a lot more interviews coming from DreamHack.